This is Carl with your Kansas Livestock update for Friday, March the 28th. Started out the week, continued reaction to that cattle on feed report that showed us lighter than expected placements. While that was supported, the total number of cattle on feed in the United States was relatively little unchanged from a year ago and really negated much of the support that report would have given us. And really, it didn't tell us that much that we didn't know. Placements maybe a little bit tighter than we thought, obviously, but we knew they were going to be tight. And traded ran up that livestock complex so far ahead of that cattle on feed report, expecting to see even more bullish numbers, and they just didn't get them. And then this week we got that cold storage report came out to start the week. Uh, some interesting numbers there. Beef production, and this is as of the end of February, February 28th. Beef production was down 6% from last month, from January, down 2% from last year, 428 million pounds. We kind of expected that, a little bit of a seasonal draw on the beef supply. Thing is we're right in front of the grilling season, and that's where trade's a little excited about the beef supply being that low. The economy kind of shrugging that off a little bit, and we'll get to that in a second. The U.S. pork supply in that cold storage report was up 4% from January at 423.14 million pounds. However, that was down 8% from last year, the lowest February pork supply on record since 1997. Extremely tight pork supply. That got the market's attention. A little bit more buying in that pork complex. Pork bellies came in at 48.59 million pounds, up 17% from January, down 24% from last year. Here's where I'm getting at. The consumer confidence numbers. We talked about these all week. Talked about them for quite some time actually, but consumer confidence slipping lower, and we got a big report out this week that showed consumer confidence is the lowest it's been in 12 years. Our consumer confidence is lower than it was during the COVID pandemic, and that is a little bit worrisome. It's going to put us, the economic outlook right now is I don't want to say it's bleak. I don't want to say that, but it is concerning. And the concern is we're going to head into a stagnating market. Stagnating market is just you just don't see consumer demand. And then we move, if we go past that, into a deflationary market where values are dropping of goods, products, commodities, you name it, and consumers still not buying. I don't know as if we get to that point right now. China is in a deflationary market, but I do believe our market stagnates. And towards the end of the week here, the sell-off we had to finish off trade on Friday, even with some pretty good supportive news, it was a bearish indicator for me, especially with a market that is extremely overbought. It's loaded to the long side, and not only overbought, but you can make the case overvalued. At the end of the week, we did get a little bit of a clarification. Maybe last week we had the story that the import registrations going into China had been approved on pork and poultry. U.S. pointed out to China that there was nothing on beef, and China doesn't. They're in no hurry to approve import regulations on U.S. beef. China not buying any beef either. Importers are free to go ahead and buy it if they want. There hasn't been a problem. The beef has been moving it into the Chinese market, but we haven't been in an elevated and escalating trade war with China. That changes everything, and it likely changes their commodity demand moving forward. Interesting to note that China, their head economist, said that tariffs will not alter their commodity supplies. They will get the commodity supplies they need. It will, however, alter their trade patterns. Take that for what you will, but China basically saying they're going to bypass the United States at all costs. Not too surprising. To wrap up the week's trade this afternoon, we got the weekly red meat production. We had a big jump in beef production during the week, up 8.6%, 528.6 million pounds. Cattle slaughter up 8.7%, 609,000 head. Animals moving. The blizzards for the last 2, 3 weeks have really caused some congestion in feedlots and just starting to get animals moved out where we need to and get them into that supply line on that cattle. Hogs, though, pork production, it was up, not near as much as beef, up 2.5%, 535.7 million pounds. Hog slaughter up 3.6% on the week at 2.48 million head. Next week we got a lot of reports in the eggs coming out. Monday we have the acreage and the stocks report. Not gonna say anything on livestock that day. Pretty quiet week for livestock, all things considered. We will keep an eye on end of month and end of quarter positioning though on Monday. Will be something that we'll watch a little bit. And of course, the reciprocal tariffs go into effect Wednesday, April 2nd. Not really expected to be a big factor for the livestock and the red meats, but we don't know. Easily could be. So that's what we're looking forward to next week. Until then, thank you for your time.